The wedding is supposed to be about them, and Jeremiah doesn't seem to care all that much, but it's not easy to let someone else take over. As the wedding date draws near, Belly finds out that her guest list is being changed, and she will end up with people she doesn't know. The two also need to find a place to live after they get married, but time is running out, and it's obvious that Belly is beginning to doubt a few aspects of being a wife. Following a fruitless day of looking for a home, Belly goes back to Cousins, where Conrad is still residing. Conrad has an opportunity to truly understand Belly's situation because he can see that she is remaining cooped up in her room and missing meals. Conrad does something that Jeremiah or even Stephen ought to have done because he is aware that Laurel isn't in favor of the plan. He visits Conrad but not to plead for help with the wedding. Rather, he goes to reassure Laurel that she shouldn't feel bad for missing Belly. This will be Belly's only wedding if everything goes according to plan. Knowing that Conrad also doesn't think Belly and Jere should get married, Laurel naturally raises her concerns about the wedding with him. Conrad, though, is the devoted brother and man. He clarifies that all he wants is for Belly and Jere to be content. This succeeds, and Laurel shows up for Belly's bridal shower, which Taylor has organized. For the time being, Belly can even move back home with Laurel, giving us the mother-daughter time we haven't had in the previous episodes. Adam mentions to Jeremiah, Conrad, and himself that he would like to take his helper Keely as a date to the wedding. Together, the two are eager to advance their relationship. Given that Adam cheated on Susanna with Keely, Conrad is not pleased about this. He obviously didn't end things, and as a result he dislikes Keely. Jeremiah feels as though he has little to say. Will his father withhold the money for the wedding if he defies it? Adam and Jeremiah are already at odds, and it's not just because of previous remarks. Because Belly changed the espresso machine and got her air in the sink, Adam doesn't particularly enjoy having her around the house. I don't think this man can be pleased with anything that doesn't go exactly the way he wants, and that's going to include the wedding. Yes, he and Keely are to blame for the 100-person increase in the guest list. Additionally, Belly is unfamiliar with them, and I doubt Jere is either. Everything about it seems strange. Belly has begun to question a couple things throughout the show. Being a wife will be challenging, and perhaps she isn't prepared for it. The episode's very finale, nevertheless, is what truly transforms her life. Conrad finds up resting his head on her shoulder while she tends to the gash on his thigh after he returns to Cousins. There is undoubtedly a spark present. Is there love rekindling? We learn more about Stephen's relationships with Taylor and Denise during all of this. Who would have imagined that Denise and him could be connected? There's even a prospect of investigating that when the two work together, considering whether they might set up a game firm together. But what about Taylor? I just want to be friends, says Stephen. He seems to have taken what she said prior to the disaster quite seriously. Even though Stephen might have heard what she said during it, I don't blame him for stepping back. Was Taylor addressing things a little too late? Perhaps, and she must now deal with that. Laurel and Belly settle together for a movie night after Taylor throws Belly an engagement party. She remembers seeing the same movie as a child when she was first falling for Conrad. She is adamant now that Jeremiah is my future. However, when Conrad enters the summer house in the last scene of Season 3 Episode 6, Belly is penning thank you notes. Despite his insistence that he is okay, Belly assists in dressing his wound, which he sustained while surfing. Han has at least warned us about the ending. A successful love triangle is one where, no matter what happens, people are going to be devastated and heartbroken. They look into each other's eyes for what seems like an eternity, and then it's Conrad who gets up and leaves this time. As she watches him leave, Belly's voice narrates, "What just happened? What did I almost do? Oh brother, literally. This is going to get messy whether it's Conrad or Jere." The Summer I Turn Pretty audience is still divided about Belly's ending, but it's safe to assume that most of them are on Conrad's side because of the novels, regardless of how many clues we get along the way. I don't even really understand how people believe Jeremiah could be endgame. Someone posted on Reddit. If she will only end up with Jeremiah, what good are all of Conrad's scenes? It is immediately apparent that Belly and Conrad are the main characters in this novel. That is confirmed throughout the first season. Otherwise else they would have demonstrated how their relationship with Jeremiah developed despite their affections for Conrad. Rather, they portray Jeremiah as a barrier to Conrad. You are obviously missing the point and might even be viewing a different program than me if, by Season 3, you are unable to recognize that this is unmistakably Belly and Conrad's love story. As one fan noted, remember that Jenny also said the ending might be different for To All the Boys I've Loved Before, it's her playbook. Another fan said, Jenny Han said the show's ending is different from the book and why am I kind of scared lol. I knew this wasn't a love triangle as soon as Conrad walked into the screen with Taylor Swift's Lover, added a fourth. There are obstacles in this Conrad tale. Some fans, like the one who stated, "Overall, I'm Team Jelly and Team Conrad," are content in either case. I support both ships and believe that both are entirely legitimate choices. In the end, Belly has the final say. I personally am leaning a bit towards Jelly, but only for the show. Jere's character appeals to me a bit more. I am eager to see where it will go. However, Jeremiah is getting along well with his father, who is pleased that he pointed up the problems with the new project. Adam claims he supports the wedding and is happy of Jeremiah's progress, even offering to host it at the country club and cover all expenses. Jeremiah is unable to refuse his father, even if he appears to understand Belly's desire to be married at Cousins. Conrad inquires about Belly's GRE preparation while they are driving to the craft store, and they discuss her passion for sports. Psychological. She talks about how talking to a psychologist about her knee injury, which prevented her from playing volleyball, helped her heal. Conrad shares that he has been talking to a therapist about his panic episodes. His maturity and ability to navigate life in California impress Belly. He also gives her kudos for driving. Steven, meantime, encounters Denise on the train to New York after skipping work for the holiday weekend. Playing video games together, including one that Steven designed, helps them connect. Also, they're both heading to the same conference for gaming. Steven acknowledges that following his near-death experience, he wants to leave his internship in order to pursue something more fulfilling. Denise shares this sentiment, stating that despite her great efforts, she has yet to achieve her goals. A shared taxi to the Javits Center is only one of the many similarities between these two. Will a train romance,